Hi there, it's Erin Brooks with Ernest Vineyards, reaching out on this breezy late afternoon, early evening to talk about a wine that I am so excited to share. Right now, just to my right, which is the west, fog is cascading over the Twin Peaks of San Francisco, which is where my home is. What I have always loved about where we are and where we have fallen in love with growing wine is the synergy between the coastal influence. When we're chilly and foggy, without fail, when I check the weather stations in Freestone, they're in a very similar situation, almost identical really to how cold it is here in San Francisco. The Joyce Vineyard is a new release Chardonnay for us in this fall release. This wine is 2019 grown. It is a new single vineyard. The Joyce Vineyard is highlighted here on the label, and you'll also notice some beautiful gold foil. All of these are new details that we're rolling out with the 2019s as you begin to see them. And I think it's really special packaging for what is honestly one of the most special vintages that I've had the privilege of working with so far. If you talk amongst our peers and our friends in the winemaking business, it might be known as the vintage of the decade. It is absolutely sublime in its quality, and particularly for the white wines. Many wine critics are already starting to talk about how it is absolutely unparalleled for whites. Chardonnay, of course, being one of those. So it brings me a lot of joy to talk about this particular first release wine from perhaps the very best vintage we could possibly have hoped for. We took on the lease of the Joyce Vineyard, which is just 3 acres, in 2017, and started farming it, hoping one day we would get to a place for a single vineyard, and we did, even a little bit more quickly than I had anticipated, which is wonderful and actually a real endorsement of organic farming, even in cool climate, because this 3 acres is farmed entirely organically, and as Joe, our winemaker, and I can attest, it is full of life and vigor outside of what is just going on with the vines. There's a gorgeous cover crop, a beautiful garrigue coming from that. We have bees, we have other pollinators, etc. But what you get in the glass in this situation, when you think about the very chilly Freestone Valley, married with a little elevation, so it sits just on the hill above the valley floor, looking down on it, and enjoys therefore the same fog. What you get is cool climate Chardonnay. I remember many a year ago we were invited to the International Cool Climate Chardonnay Conference, which actually happens up on the East Coast in Canada. And they had become aware of what we were doing with Chardonnays at Ernest Vineyards several years ago. When we are able to go, this particular one will be the showstopper. It is so very citrusy in its initial expression that it kind of doesn't even go to lime the way I think about lime so much with our Freestone Valley stuff. It's kind of almost Meyer lemon and lemon curd to me, married with the most delicate use of oak that I have ever seen. So don't misunderstand me. This is not an unoaked Chardonnay. I esteem them, but we don't do that. That is not what's happened here. This wine has gone through a complete process. It went through a full primary in oak and full malolactic in oak. It is unfined. It is also unfiltered, and really reflects the deft hand that Joe brings to the cellar about oak on Chardonnay. It is every bit the expression of that beautiful place. White flower, really beautiful, unripe or just barely ripe stone fruits, but a very complete wine. It has a gorgeous finish. And honestly, as the wine reviews come in, as we've submitted this to some of the journalists across the globe, everybody is endorsing it and talking about what a wine it is going to be to collect and cellar. So I am excited to share it with you, and I hope that you get to enjoy a glass of it very soon. Cheers.